Hello and welcome back to another video for Final Fantasy XIV with me, Meoni. Let's look at the 6.1 trailer together and see what we can pick apart from this. You're welcome to join in the comment section if you find things that obviously I don't, because you know, there is going to be lots of references that I'm not aware of where they're from, and maybe you do, especially if they reference other games like Final Fantasy XI, which is not something I've, you know, seen as a strong point. I've only played a bit of that game. So let's move on and look at this.
It's so much quieter these days without everyone around. Not that I'm pining for your return, you understand.
So obviously the start there with Tataru referencing the new Tataru's Grand Endeavors, which is a brand new side quest series where Tataru's on her own adventures. As you can see, she's kind of bored on her own in the Rising Stones. You know, it's kind of all a pretense that the Scions split up. They are actually still together, but they want the world to deal with their own problems for the most part. But it does mean that each of the members of the Scions is sort of split on its own sort of story itself, which is quite interesting, and it gives us a great opportunity to take part in all of that stuff as if nothing had ever happened, only in its own separate part of the world. It's a different take on how the storyline goes forward, rather than just having one major plot line, but I'm sure they'll be back towards the one major plot line eventually. But for now, it's exciting because no one really knows what direction we're going, but Tataru has her own ideas about this.
Pining for your return, you understand.
See, look, we're referencing all of the characters now, all of the members of Scions going their own separate ways.
My sources, and I know that each and every one of you is doing well and keeping busy with your endeavors.
This map is the...
Also, can we just reference the fact that that's the Festival of the Hunt theme from Final Fantasy IX kicking in here? I think it's called the Hunter's Chants. This is actually supposedly, from a little bit of research, going to be the PvP theme for the Crystal conflict, which is very hype. And apparently they've also put in the Run song from FF9 as the second chance, overtime theme. So when the time's running out for Crystal conflict as well. So that's a pretty awesome reference. But if you're wondering why this music sounds familiar, that's why. So in this particular scene then, which is unrelated to that, you'll see that this character with the gold hair is either a new character added into the game, or some people have speculated that this might be Nero. I don't think it's Nero. I think this is just a character that's a little bit shady, sort of selling maps. I have no idea. Estinian's involved in this, so this is like Estinian story for the most part, I would imagine. And it seems to be in Favnir, where we are right now, as you can see with the decor, which means that probably this means that the first dungeon is set somewhere near Favnir.
Keys of fabulous riches. I'll be the king of fools to simply give it away.
I mean, we missed it a little bit there, but as you can see, the way that they got here, very briefly, was on this boat, which of course is the Favnirian boat. There you go, it's a better frame into this sort of like swampy area. It looks like this is like a hidden section of the world. We have Favnirian architecture as well. Some kind of like swamps or mangroves or something. This dungeon looks really cool though. There's lots of interesting monsters like Oppo Oppos, and there's some interesting bosses in here as well.
The king of fools to simply give it away.
So yeah, Estinian's made an interesting purchase yet again, probably spending, you know, over 200,000 gil on a treasure map, which is totally not what happens on patch day when real treasure map dungeons come out. But as you can see, this map is probably one of the most interesting slides in the entire trailer. We have the Favnirian Eye, or whatever that might be, with a dragon around it, which might be referencing a certain dragon we know. And we have all of these islands, which is very interesting. This appears to be islands off of Thavnir itself, which is probably this direction. And yeah, we have one place that's sort of like checkmarked. Maybe they're on a mission to check all of these places on this treasure map, or maybe this is the treasure map. That's most likely, right? So that's probably what leads us to this dungeon. Who knows what's inside here? It's exciting, isn't it?
This map may or may not be genuine.
I like this backdrop with like the underwater section. So this is, for the most part, what looks like it starts on the surface and then goes underwater. So this could be a reference to certain places in Final Fantasy XI. I'm sure people can think of those. I can't remember the name of it right now, but there is somewhere that's like an underwater section. Yeah, there's some of the monsters in here you'll notice are familiar as well to that same sort of idea. One thing is that there is actually sigils placed on certain stones. I'm not sure what these are referencing, but I'm sure they match up somewhere. So we're fighting some kind of like kraken creature here. Some kind of shield creature. This looks like a mechanic where you have to stand in one of the squares and maybe this spins around. Very cool stuff. I always like to see what next mechanics they put into dungeons. Most of them are usually from raids and then they filter them down into the dungeons. Always exciting to see what we get. This animation has to be released as an emote, by the way. This like spinning top thing, it's hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. Also, this boss, we know for a fact we're getting a minion version of this, so this is very likely either the last boss or one of the bosses in here. I think this is probably last boss in here. And you have a chance of getting him at least as a minion. We saw that in a live letter. This then is the Crystal Conflict. This is the new PvP mode, which is 5v5. This is where the music you're hearing in the background of a trailer at this point is the Festival of the Hunt. There's going to be different map presets. This is the one, obviously, in the Ruby Sea. And you'll notice that there are certain like backdrop things like lava, for example. So this, I mean, originally we saw concept art of this, and Yoshi P said he wanted to recreate Bomberman with some of this stuff. So there'll be environmental hazards during some of these matches as well. So it's not just all one place. I think they've got like 3 or 4 maps, something like that.
And protect them well.
There you go. Look, there's the bombs, and then they go off. So there's like multiple paths. This looks like quite an advanced map comparatively to like the stock Crystalline Conflict one, so I'm interested to see how this works. You got your potions as well, which do various things. The whole PvP mode does look exciting, but there you go, there's a bomb actually going off. It might do environmental damage then over time, so this is probably going to create an easier passage. You'll notice on the live letter footage as well that we looked at, there was actually like fast ways, so like there were like speed up pads on certain areas of the map. Maybe these unlock through the progression of, you know, the crystal being moved, or perhaps just over time from the bombs destroying some of the scenery. Seems interesting anyway.
Such were the words I once said to you, and here I stand failing to live up to them.
Not sure what's going off there, quite honestly. That is obviously the voice of that. I mean, I thought this fellow was dead, personally. But there we go. Yeah, there's quite a few people here together once again. So it's already brought most of the Scions together again. We've got Ishtola, Estinian, you know, Grahatir, and Urianger, and your character. So whatever's happening here is clearly important. Maybe this is what like the aftermath of whatever findings we have at the island. That's just purely a guess, though.
To live up to them.
So this is one of the other maps. I hadn't actually seen this one. This is like the Sea of Clouds base map. So we have like windmills and stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if in this map we had like wind platforms or something to blast us different areas of the map. Apart from that, though, it looks fairly straightforward. But you'll notice a lot of these maps are in a sort of like a different shape. So this sort of like zigzags around windmills. So it'll be interesting to see what different environmental hazards are brought on, especially in a wind-based one.
As you know, I've been researching ways to travel from the source to one of its reflections.
So we've got all kinds of footage in the background here as Y'shtola's telling us how she wants to go to other places and research that. We appear to have a mammoth. This is in Old Charlian. This is in the archives, telling us directly, actually. So she's looking for like a way. She's researching ways. Apart from the fact you do have a giant spaceship, love, that you could just, you know, kind of fly to other places, but maybe that's not how it works. But this is some kind of archive room, I think. We do have the mammoth from Charlian. We also have a scene here with, obviously, Grahatir thinking about things. We've got a map in the background. This looks like Old Charlian as well in that meeting room. And then we have this scene here, which appears to be from a new role quest. So 6.1 has role quests in it as well, which is a continuation. So if you've not done your role quests for the base expansion, you probably want to do those because this is a follow-up, which is why you see all of these characters in the Tower of Zot. You'll see throughout as well, you'll see little clips of NPCs that you recognize in weird places. That's because they're role quest specific. This very quickly then, also any footage you see of Praetorium or Cape Westwind bosses, this is to reference the fact then that this has got duty support, as you'll see, but we have Grand Company members here with the player character following Sid inside Mariadnum. This is because you can do this 4-player now. This is no longer 8-player content. So Praetorium and Mariadnum are 4-player dungeons, which also have these duty support system. Basically, Cape Westwind is now a solo duty, and La Habrea is a solo duty. Then they've turned the Ultima weapon section of a Praetorium into a 4-player trial. So that's why it's referencing this multiple times. This then is obviously referencing Hildibrand. Yeah, so if you were lucky, you could see Hildibrand in the Hero's Gauntlet, which was, what, in 5.3, if I remember correctly. And basically, this is a reference to that. So it looks like this is a flashback scene with this sort of like sepia or sepia sort of tone on this particular cutscene. So maybe we're seeing it from a perspective of Hildibrand himself. He was, of course, summoned in that particular time into the Hero's Gauntlet. So, yeah, Hildibrand is going to be in the 6.1 series, so I'm all for hype for that. I love the guy. I think he's fantastic.
Well, looking for...
Then we've got this piece of music in the background that starts. I'll let you hear some of it in a second. It reminds me of Kingdom Hearts music, but a lot of people have suggested that maybe the lead singer of it is from Persona. It's equally possible. I have absolutely no idea. Also, we've got the shot of N-Singer on Extreme here in the background. Y'shtola opens up this archive door, so we were right about that.
Looking for hints, at least. I don't expect to find a simple set of instructions tucked away in some dark corner of the library.
It's interesting here how we have shots of Alpha, but then the Omega questline is also being updated. There will be a huge chapter sort of wrapping up the Omega storyline since of the events that happened in the last zone of Endwalker, and of course the Omega Raid series. If you've not done the Omega Raid series, you won't be able to do this, so bear in mind you want to go and at least complete that on normal. Other things to reference then is, this looks terrifying, by the way, the N-Singer, where she's like summoning these like cylinders with her face on them. I'm not sure what that's about, but that's spoopy. But yeah, definitely go do the Omega storyline. You wanna make Alpha happy, right? Everybody wants to make Alpha happy.
Corner of the library.
This then is reference to the new beast tribe, the Arkasodara. As you can see here, they have hippos. This is actually obtainable in the Beast Tribe as the Beast Tribe's mount. And I believe there's also, I mean, I'm expecting there to be a minion version of this as well. Probably, hopefully. But yeah, this is a confirmed mount where you sit in this rickshaw and the hippo pulls you. Clearly, the Arkasodara questline, they said something about overcoming the terms of Beast Tribe or something, or like beastliness. So it'll probably have this moral story to it. We got Aura here, sort of cheering them on and starting races between these two Arkasodara, which is obviously going to feature heavily. I look forward to the storyline. I want to take part in the race myself, honestly. We have something happening in here. This is probably role quest that's happening here. It sounds like the distorted voice of the Emperor is coming from here in Garlemald, which, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Anima? Interesting. I wonder if we'll get an Anima follow-up. I always wanted a trial, but this is second best, right? Here we've got some more role quest stuff, you know, because Lord Hion's involved. Very cool stuff. I look forward to seeing what they do with this, honestly. This is Myths of the Realm, which is at Lyre, which is the name of the first of 3 Alliance raids based in the realm of the 12 deities, right? So, yes. So this first character, obviously, I mean, it should be fairly obvious who this is. It's, of course, Biragot, with his large hammer. As you can see, if you look at the Astrologian cards, or if you look at the any lore of this game at all, yes, there's Biragot with his giant hammer, presumably going to smash some foes. It does mean, of course, that we are fighting the 12. I don't think this is necessarily a malicious thing, but more of like a trial, like the trial of the gods sort of thing. I do like this. The sort of set design for this reminds me of kind of like Olympus with like Hercules and that kind of setting. It does bring that back to me, back to sort of Kingdom Hearts again, sort of like a Colosseum. Floating area, we have, of course, the symbol of Biragot as well in this like Colosseum seated area. Looks to be interesting. If you pay special attention, you'll see some of the outfits here are actually the new Alliance raid gear. Some of them have transparent capes, which is awesome. I mean, that looks awesome. Also, these are voice acted. I'll let you hear that again in a second, but these are voice acted, so they're giving it the proper Ivalice sort of treatment, which is nice to see. And you'll see that the platform here moves. They did confirm that the first boss, the second boss, you can fall off the platform and die. The third boss, you burn to death. That's what they said in the live letter. So, interesting. Let's hear that voice properly. This shot here is absolutely gorgeous. This really is the realm of the gods, isn't it? With the big sun in the background there. That is, it's absolutely beautiful. And we got our player characters moving through here. Usually in Alliance raids, there's like bits of trash on the way to bosses. It's really the only content that like ever does that, and I quite like it personally. It sort of brings up memories of like the Taj Mahal or something like that. Very, very cool stuff. Lots of hidden monsters behind spell effects here. It's very difficult to see what exactly we're fighting against, and I think that's deliberate. Lots of very, very bright, flashy things. I'm not sure what's happening here, by the way. Some kind of like flashes or flashbacks or something. This then is still in the Alliance raid, and as you can see, the moon has turned. Well, the sun has turned to moon, so night has making its way to us, which is very cool. It means that the whole Alliance raid is dynamic and changes. I don't think we've seen day-night cycles and things like that change inside here, but it is just a skybox at the end of the day. This is really cool, though. So this appears to be Azema, right? That's all it could be. A fiery dancer. right? So that's Azema. So so far we've got Birregurt with his hammer. This will be boss 3 because they said we'd burn to death. So this is boss 3, which is Azema dancing her fiery dance of death, and she looks absolutely gorgeous. Kind of reminds me a bit of Penphysilia from Eureka, by the way, in Pyros. Definitely got that thing going. Or Suzaku is a lot of people referencing. Sort of like these fans of flame look. Awesome looking.
A gift of flame for our children.
This appears to be Rauga, I think. We're fighting higher top on Rauga's fist, I think. Or maybe this is this is definitely still in the Alliance raid. Yeah, so there's Rauga chilling out on top of, on top of his own little statue. That's quite cool, isn't it? But how vain do you have to be to fight your children atop a statue of yourself? It's pretty amazing. It also reminds me of a cutscene, obviously, with where you're fighting Lys. That's always cool, and I've always wanted to go up there myself. So this kind of other version of that is really, really welcome. So we've got Rauga, so we've got Birregurt, we've got Rauga, we've got Azema. So who else have we got in this? Can we just say that Rauga's, looks incredible. Also, I think these are Thal's bowls, right? This is... Oh, right. So this freeze frame here, this looks like the introduction of the 4th boss. So they're showing all of the bosses, or at least referencing them in the Alliance raid. I believe that this is Nullfal, because Nullfal is a duo, right? It's the twins. So we'll see more of that in a second. But I just want to go back a few seconds. This is probably Roll Quest, or this could be referencing something. I don't know. Where exactly is this? Inside some kind of dungeon? You see, I have no idea where this is. This could be part of the MSQ. This could be anything. I have no idea. It would make sense that this would be something to do with the Roll Quest, but I have no idea. If you know where this is, let me know below, because I have absolutely no idea where to imagine this is. But, Also, before this, we had... this is also in that dungeon, so we've got Thavnerian architecture here with trusts. Yeah, so we're back to where we are. But the voice as well on this is weird. I don't know whose that is. So this is Nullfal, I think, at least. The twins themselves. They look pretty cool. They're voice acted again. I'll let you hear it and look at it properly.
So this is the spirit of man.
Come.
Looked pretty badass, didn't it? That, it reminds me so much of the Ivalice raid. This is ridiculous. I wonder how much they have learned from the previous Alliance raids, because this is just this is straight up a summon, isn't it? It's beautiful. Maybe then the secret of the 12 is that they're just primals. I don't know. Maybe not. But they do seem to have that thing going for them, like summonings. It'd be surprising if they weren't primals. I think Ramu is supposedly a reincarnation of Rauga, right? Didn't the Sylphs allude to as much, that they summoned a humanoid lightning god? Yeah, maybe that's too much speculation, but I thought Rauga and Ramu were kind of connected in that way. So maybe they are just summons, like primals. But yeah, this reminds me straight up of a Final Fantasy XII cutscene. I love this. Excellent.
Come, mortals. Enter my realm, if you dare.
So there's the end of the main segment. We'll get to this bit in a minute. But as you can see, it looks like we're getting another glamour set. Sort of these... What are these? Are these Sharlayan robes? Sharlayan gown? Like a Sharlayan casual wear? I like this, though. It kind of reminds me of like a Roman... Why does this remind me of like a Roman outfit? I don't know what they're even called, like not a toga, but there's a lot of mythology stuff in this. And it reminds me of like Olympus, and there are references to that kind of architecture as well. I love that idea. But yeah, and obviously we have a voice of what might be Azema, or might be like Althic, for example. Because of course there are like extra ones we haven't seen in this, but yeah, I'm hyped to see what all 3 segments of the Alliance raid will be, especially if those are the first 4 bosses. Very cool stuff.
If you dare.
And yeah, it's at this point as well where the screen shatters and we get looking basically straight at the new Ultimate. You'll notice in some of the artwork here there is like references to the past, and then there's the future, obviously the present of us being an adventurer. Very cool stuff. Here's a look at the Ultimate. The glory is mine. Indeedy. Yeah, so Thordan's going to be part of that, isn't he? And his Knights 12. We kind of knew that. There's also other footage elsewhere of... oh, it was a picture, wasn't it? In not this live letter, but number 69. If you want to look up that. I did a breakdown on that summary of the live letter. And there was an image of Nidhogg and Race Valga in like Neuralink chains. So there's going to be multiple phases. Ultimate fights are always amazing to watch. I personally haven't got the time to, get involved in actually doing those myself, but I do like watching the world race. And yeah, very, very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. And that's the entirety of the trailer. I'm not sure if I missed anything, but there wasn't too much in depth here. Highlights to take from this definitely are these wonderful cutscenes and the introductions of characters that we've long waited to see. It's nice to see that they've packed the first 4 bosses of the Alliance raid with, the actual characters that we want to see. It looks like we'll be fighting through, if not all of them, at least some of the actual people that we, of the 12 that we thought were gods. Clearly they're not perhaps gods, maybe more like deities. This is beautiful with Azema, with the moon in the background there. Absolutely beautiful stuff. Yeah, I'm really, really hyped for 6.1. It's full to the brim of content, and it's nice to have things like Hildibrand and, the new dungeon and all of the Scions to be going on their separate journeys. And this is going to be basically the first patch that introduces which direction they're going and what they're focusing their time on most, which is exciting stuff. And I'm also excited for the PvP, but mostly for the series PvP rewards rather than the seasonal stuff. Anyway, let me know what you found in this trailer, what I've missed, probably quite a bit, and I will see you all next time. Much love. Bye-bye.